Welcome back, everybody. We're glad to see most of you guys stuck around for this last session before the happy hour. This is going to be a jam-packed, full of information session, so we're glad that you all are here. First up, I want to present Greg Gulliver with Calcome, and he is going to take it away.
Awesome. Thanks very much. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for the introduction again. My name is Greg Gulliver, and I'm the General Manager at Calcome Enterprises. I've had the pleasure of working with many of you in the education environment over the past 11 years through my work at Fresh Air Educators, which is now part of the Calcome family. Many of you know Mitch Strobel, of course, infamous Mitch Strobel. He sends his best as he's currently chasing pronghorns at the moment. You know Mitch, always hunting. So I appreciate the opportunity to give a brief high-level update from an education and licensing perspective at Calcome as it pertains to the current COVID-19 climate and what we have observed over the past 5 to 6 months. So when COVID-19 hit in mid to late March, like many of you in your positions and roles, we too needed to act quickly to provide effective solutions for the delivery of hunter education with our partners. The initial reaction in the hunter education sphere included states began to reduce class availabilities and class sizes. Eventually, most programs then needed to cancel all traditional in-person classes and any follow-up classes to complete the certification process. Some programs were able to amend their apprentice license options to help with the spring season. Those programs that were offering an online-only hunter education option, in some cases, were able to lower the minimum age to provide a greater reach for the online-only program. And lastly, early on, we saw programs utilize alternative options such as video submissions and Zoom Skype calls to take the final exam. Now, as COVID-19 continued to develop and dictate the need for indefinite change, more programs need to evolve their delivery method. In particular, the largest shift was to move to online-only delivery. Many blended hunter education programs moved to an online-only format to accommodate classroom options being canceled. Our virtual field day was actually a perfect enhancement to the online program curriculum to not only provide scenario-based learning, but also another level of integrity to the education and certification process. If you're not familiar with the virtual field day, we work with key stakeholders in the hunter education community and with the IHA to develop a 23 scenario-based program to focus on key safety elements when in the field. It bookends the online program to ensure safety elements when in the field are observed and what can go wrong if not. With the large shift to online-only education over the past few months, we've seen the following. Greater accessibility is leading to increased recruitment and more student certifications. I'm sure most of you have seen that. An example of such would be New York State, where they actually doubled its annual volume in 5 months over the pandemic. This is when they've moved to online-only hunter education for the first time. We're seeing higher overall completion rates and more female participation compared to the previous year. Now, we also understand the value of PR and match, and we do have match-eligible courses, so feel free to reach out, connect with us, and we can discuss that with your regional federal representative. Also, with limited in-person resources for continued education, we've seen a growth in our online 101 courses such as Deer 101 and Turkey 101 with the help of our partners from QDMA and National Wild Turkey Federation. We're also expanding these 101 courses and have added an intro to fishing, which has seen good success so far. Now more than ever, customers are craving more content, which is not only beneficial from recruitment and retention perspective, but also reactivation. Now, as digital learning through online-only hunter education has peaked as a result because of COVID-19, and with just over half the US delivering hunter education in this format, we will soon be releasing the first level 4 immersive interactive online course. Something we're very excited to share with the hunter education community in the near future. Now, this comes off the heels of our NASBL-approved interactive boating course. So we've learned a lot from that program, taken a lot of that information, that data, and obviously further enhanced it into a hunter education sphere. Accessibility, engagement, interactivity, and modernization are all essential aspects that we're committed to and will be delivered through this new online program. I know I've got limited time, so to quickly finish with licensing, and no different from the education side of things, we've seen a substantial transition in both Nevada and New York, our licensing partners, in terms of online sales versus in-person sales. We know that kiosk and other non-contact options are out there, but we've transitioned to really focus on the at-home experience. So online orders, phone sales, and even expedited shipping of tags and licenses. And because of this shift, we continue to place more focus on our user experience, design, development, SSO, to provide an easy platform for your customers. And more customers choose online. We'll continue to review the entire process from certification to buying that first license. So it's a seamless experience that they call enjoy. And just quickly to summarize, as a partner with many of you and your agencies, we needed to use our current technology and blend in some additional online resources to ensure you were able to quickly and efficiently deliver a product during COVID-19. And as we continue to see a heightened level of an online engagement, we are reacting and evolving our technologies to continue to provide innovative solutions for the higher education community and beyond. We truly look forward to working with you on more innovative solutions in the future. I really appreciate your time. I know this was pretty quick because there's a lot of presenters, but thank you and happy to answer any questions now or later on. Thanks again.
Great, thanks so much, Greg.
Thank you.
It looks like Jason Kuhl's wife took the free online course this year. She never would have sat in a class before, so
Perfect.
You're obviously doing something right.
That's great to hear. Thanks, Jason.
Awesome. Thank you for that. I'm going to bring up all right. Hi, Mike. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Thanks. Okay. So here we have Mike Bialish and Sunny Fleming. They are from ESRI, and they are going to give a wonderful presentation. Thanks, guys.
All right. Sounds good. So, Sunny, you're going to work on getting the screen share?
Oh, I'm working on it.
Okay. I'll get started in the interest of time. So, hello, everyone. I want to start out, of course, by saying thank you for this opportunity, to discuss and show the many ways that GIS solutions are really supporting our three strategies across the country. Again, I'm Mike Bialish, and with me is Sunny Fleming, and we're the main Esri Environment and Natural Resources team that works with state agencies in all 50 states. And one of the main challenges that we're collaborating with those agencies on is R3. So getting right to it, as was discussed yesterday, R3 is really core to agency operations. And as we collaborate with agencies on this, we're assessing business needs of the entire workflow and then laying down technology strategies following an understand, plan, and act foundational approach, which we'll describe through this. So in looking at R3, this approach is really applicable, where a tremendous amount of understanding is needed. And so we see GIS-based data collection tools, for example, for inventories of recreational opportunities and assets and regulations and so on. Also public-facing and crowdsourced tools for leveraging volunteers and getting feedback from existing and potential participants through things like angler and hunter surveys. GIS also provides great integration and visualization tools to better understand your customer base and market potential, like we've been talking about. Getting more to the plan side, spatial analysis capabilities to enhance all this understanding are used to support the development of marketing strategies and also to enhance communication strategies and in turn measure their impact. And then of course, GIS tech is very much about outreach, and it really provides a great means to act on all this content and analysis to effectively promote recreational participation and opportunities in a way that really resonates with existing and potential participants. So now what's really cool is that everything that I just described can now be done with out-of-the-box or configurable tools, which means very low overhead to get them set up and deployed. Also, these tools leverage GIS licensing that already exists in fish and wildlife agencies. Now, I've mentioned these agencies a lot, but we all know and we've talked about how, R3 requires a lot of collaboration, and the technology also offers this capability out of the box, especially supporting two-way collaboration. Also, because of how the tech has evolved over time, the possibilities for system integration, such as with licensing systems, is also very achievable now. So given all these elements, we've been working with various agencies to develop R3 specific solutions, which are readily available products and approaches for you to use. And with the remainder of our time, Sunny is going to take you through these, hopefully in a live demo fashion, fingers crossed. Hopefully everything will work, but Sunny, go ahead and take it away.
All right, great. No promises. Geez, put me under pressure. All right, but I think you all can see my screen. So this is an example of a recreation license dashboard, and this is a solution that is out of the box. And this kind of covers our, in that understand, plan, act framework. This is our understand. What does the landscape look like with your license info? We worked with Maine and some other agencies on this, so we don't work on these things in a vacuum, and solutions are really something that your agency can deploy out of the box. So even Tanaya in the chat here, she's like, yeah, we stood up our dashboard and they tweaked theirs a little bit differently, which is another thing. These things are configurable, right? But you can pull this in, you can see this across the landscape, you can look at the different years, you can look at different geographies. So you could maybe go into Anne Arundel County, that's where my grandmother's from. You could go all the way into her town. You can look at these active license month for these sales. Here you're looking at the lapsed licenses, you can look at total licenses, and then some town and city info. So really, this understand phase, kind of getting the lay of the land in a way that's a little more intuitive than a spreadsheet or report out of your licensing system. So going into this, I mentioned Tanaya and her group, they've actually deployed this as a solution. It's not just a demo that exists and Esri's like, great, here we are, tech people. No, real people have actually used it. And so we have this great case study from South Dakota, and Tanaya's our hero. We brag on her all the time and her group. And so we can send this along. We have a one-pager that we'll send out after this, but it's a great case study. So going more into the plan, when Southwick was doing their presentation, I was like on the roof screaming. I mean, everything they said was just so relevant to me. I am a person that you all want to target. I'm someone who didn't have a culture of hunting and fishing growing up in my family, but I'm interested in it. And here I am at 34, and it's like, how do you target me? How do you target those populations? Well, this is using insights, and we're playing around with some Wisconsin data here. And we're pulling in, it's coming in as a spreadsheet. We're pulling it here into Insights, which is one of our products, and we're aggregating it by county. We're looking at some of these summary stats here. So looking at, the licenses through the seasons. We're looking at the genders. And then one of the really awesome things is that we have all this demographic data that you can enrich this with, and you can open the data browser, and we have 130 countries that you can look at. But let's go to the United States. We'll click on that. Let's just look, I'm going to type in fishing here and see what pops up. We have all of this stuff. So sports, which is really cool. Who participated in, fishing freshwater in the last 12 months? Where are these people at? How can you enrich your data sets with this and start asking questions around that? It includes race, it includes gender, and it includes all these, habits of people that are outside of our normal sphere that we think of that are involved in these outdoor recreation. There's information on our demographics. We can send this along. But one of the things that I am most excited about, and this is really where the presentation was like freaking me out. And I was like, yes, we have something along with our solutions, these things that are deployable and configurable, is a hub. And a hub is essentially like a little mini website, and you can have this two-way engagement. One of the things that was mentioned in the opening remarks yesterday was that outdoor recreation expands beyond hunting and fishing. And especially in the era of COVID and people are coming to the outdoors in different ways, where can they go for all this centralized information? So you can kind of plug and play. You've got your information products. this is all out of the box. You press deploy and it stands this up for you, but then you just put your own information in it. Get an outdoor license. Yeah, I need to know that. I have no idea where to go for that. Buy a license online. Learn more about this information. Make a reservation. Join the outdoor community. Southwest Wick was talking about brokering these experiences, brokering the relationship between someone who's clueless like me and someone who's not clueless. And maybe I want to go log in and say, hi, I'm someone who wants to go hunting. And someone who is a hunter can log in and say, all right, I can take this person on that experience and teach them something. You can do all of that here. They've got outdoor events and all this good stuff. I don't know how we are on time. Mike, give me a reality check.
I probably have another minute or so. Hopefully
Oh,
I'm
good.
not...
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just love this, and you can configure it. So here it comes out of the box with the fishing, hunting, and boating, but there's no reason you couldn't have shooting sports in there or rock climbing, outside of the scope of our thing. But this inclusive, how do people come to an experience? And so you can just build all that in here, and they can start looking around. These are interactive. They can get more information. They can go into these and drive that exploration further, and finally bring people to the information products that they say that they're looking for. We've learned social media, and then your website really needs to be that landing page for this information. Here you go, out of the box with Esri. So thanks.
All right. And in the chat, I did put some resources that we put together. Feel free to check that out, and that is available after the event too. So a lot of the examples we just talked about. Thank you.
Great, thanks guys. That was awesome. A lot of super cool tools going on there. And I know a bunch of us look forward to playing with it. So next we will welcome Ms. Kelsey Hersey from Brant Information Systems. And a bunch of us are pretty familiar with Brant, maybe even use them for programs. So this should be kind of a friendly talk we got going here. So here you go, Kelsey.
I am hearing two voices.
Do you have your computer speakers on?
Let's see. Hold on. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. Sorry. Whoa, I'm definitely hearing double voices. Okay, I'm just going to put my headset on mute and just talk because I can hear two voices. Hi, everybody. All right, let me share my screen. All right, so Brant, I don't know.
Kelsey, click on in the share screen. Oh, there you go.
Okay, I got the share screen. I can still hear double voices, so I'm going to just keep talking. But all right, so Brant, obviously hunting and fishing licensing systems and park reservation solutions and marketing services. We've definitely seen a lot of increase. Whoa, this is so weird. Guys, I can hear double. We've obviously seen, oh, there we go. Thank you, Kristen, for whatever you did to fix it. Nope, I can still hear double.
Kelsey, can you take your headset like completely off and just use the computer?
But my sound's coming from it. Okay, I'll just talk like this then. Hey.
Does that work?
Okay, so we've obviously seen a drastic increase in online purchases, right, through these times. It's going to help us in a lot of ways. It's going to help us with getting valid email addresses, auto renew, and then all the cross sells and other opportunities that you see as an online user that you may not have been asked or offered if you had gone into an in-store opportunity. So we're seeing a lot of participation growth and things that are very exciting during these times. And something that we've been focusing on and paying attention to is what does that conversion funnel look like? These new users and these new participants, which we do have every year, right? We have new users every year, but this year we just have so many more. What is that conversion funnel? What does that process look like for them? What are we doing for them and providing to them? Okay, so I've kind of broken this down into three things. One, awareness. In the very beginning of all of this, when everything was very uncertain, the public might not have been familiar with if they were allowed to go hunting or fishing, or they're allowed to participate in these activities. The phrase stay-at-home order means stay at home. It doesn't mean to go outside. So there's a lot of awareness that our state agency partners put into place immediately explaining their regulations, up-to-date sites and resources that as things change, as soon as they change, they're updating the public. So you're using your own properties for that, right? You're using your website, you're using social media, you're sending emails. What can you do to get the message out there about what is and what's not allowed? And then the second part of that is the buying message. A lot of these new people might never even know that they have to have a license, that there is a regulatory thing that they need to do. So even just spreading that awareness of it has been a big factor and part of it. And so you can use a lot of different platforms for things like that. You can do digital advertising campaigns. You can do partnering with influencers and with brands. And earned media, so press releases, but things that can get picked up. You know, we were talking about, I think yesterday, that news article that everybody saw about fishing is the sport of the pandemic. Opportunities like that to get the message out there. And it's really important to think for all of these buying messages, you need to think about the users that are seeing them, and do they see people like me in them? And I'm not saying me personally, I'm saying the user that's seeing it. Do they see themselves in the imagery and the content that's being shared and promoted? So obviously from the previous discussion that we were having right before this, you need to make sure that you're showing a diverse amount of race, age, backgrounds, but more than that, also a diversity and experience level. So being able to see people that may not have ever done this before, but they're giving it a shot for the first time and they're having a blast. They might have screwed up, they might have not gotten the spring turkey, they might have done something, but they're having a great experience. And that in itself lowers that barrier to entry. Well, maybe you could convince someone to give it a shot. And then once they have a license, once they've gone spring turkey hunting or they've participated in an activity, how do we keep them, right? We have this huge increase this year, but what does next year look like? And what are we doing for them today to keep them long term and take these interested people into lifelong advocates? So we need to continue to provide resources and information and support. And I think that everybody that's been a part of yesterday and today, we all have a critical role to play in all of that, whether it's hunter education, whether it is the licensing system, whether it is information and education. All of the different groups and all the different initiatives are equally important as part of that customer journey. So what are we doing to provide to these, we could call them COVID cohorts, to keep them long term and to really provide them what they need? So are you giving them information of where they can go, season information, what gear they need to buy? You're giving them tutorials, and yeah, maybe we can't meet in person as much, and there's the online hunter education classes, but also just virtual classes that can replicate that individual in-person experience, that they can feel confident, comfortable talking to somebody. I definitely learned something about not using the word mentoring earlier today. I think that's very, very valuable. How can you talk about these things in an approachable way that they have someone to reach out to? And how do you tell that story, right? So through your digital advertising, through your marketing efforts, how do you string that story together? Because you guys are right, hunting is a very emotional experience. And how do you communicate that and get that through? So great video pieces that you can produce or partners that you can work with, and leveraging people that do this outside of what we'd probably consider traditional industry, right? Not the state agencies, not the trade association, but there's also a lot of just people out there producing awesome content and talking about all these things. So how can we build those relationships to continue that as well? So those are just some of the things I've been thinking about lately and related to licensing systems, and I wanted to share, and we'll be sticking around afterwards in case anyone wants to have follow-up conversations. But I can't actually hear if you guys are saying anything because I put my headset down.
Awesome. Thanks, Kelsey, even though you can't hear me. So, I hope you guys are learning a lot about some of the tech that's out there for you to use. I know I am. Some of these systems I had no idea even existed. And it seems like kind of a pipe dream to even consider that they're already out there and not some big like future project. So next we have Mr. Brad Luttrell from Go Wild.
Hello.
Hello, welcome. And feel free to share your slides.
I am pulling them up now.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you. I'm excited to be on this panel. We have a lot of awesome technology in play, and I know a lot of these founders and have seen their tech scale over the years, so it's exciting to be a part of this conversation. I'm also really familiar with the R3 community, and I'm excited to be in touch with everyone here. Okay, so this is little Brad. I grew up in the outdoors, and I've been off-roading, fishing, and hunting my whole life. And I know this group doesn't necessarily need this, but I think it's important for all of us just to constantly be reminded that we don't start here. Your outdoor journey doesn't start on these epic hikes or, king salmon in Alaska or big game. That for a lot of people, it starts here. The key to getting outside in this modern era, and especially in 2020, starts indoors. And people are looking for, they're trying to find answers to questions they don't even know to ask. And I think that's a really important thing to remember for all of us as we create content and technology to help cater to this audience, because we have to really figure out, forget about our base level of knowledge and remember that they know nothing. So, when we think about the newcomer, it's someone that has never been into hunting or fishing at all. We think about this, the very basic questions that they're going to ask. This year, and I know you all have covered this well over 2 days, but just a real quick hit for how, what I'm seeing, in the agencies we're talking to, we've seen some states have had twice as many fishing licenses sold this year already. Somewhere between a 30 and 60% lift, and with some of the agencies I've talked to and Calcami and talking to them, that lift in hunters that are going to be out. And NSSF is projecting 8 million new gun owners for 2020. But remember, when they come into this is what it feels like. It's confusing. It's cluttered. You don't know all of the gear. And that's such an important part of this too. There's so many freaking widgets to get into hunting and fishing. And, for a newcomer, they don't know the answers to this stuff. They don't even know the questions to ask. So we strive as a product. We're a social media community that has e-commerce integration to help with the gear. We really strive to make that connection simple and effortless. The platform is really easy to use. It's a friendly and active community. And we have built-in digital mentorship, or, again, I don't like that word either. Mentorship feels like work, right? It feels like I have to go to school. I think of it as fun. These are fun interactions for people they're interacting and having, it's like deer camp with a buddy, right? They're learning and hearing from someone else's experience on the platform. This year's been crazy for us too. I've seen a lot of the same growth that other people have seen just in the first 30 days after the lockdown era started, which March 15th is the number we used to pull these stats. We saw a huge lift in posts. The gear searches went through the roof because people were trying to figure out how to get outside, like gear to help facilitate their outdoor journey. And then just overall, we saw a huge lift in engagement. We saw a 31% lift in that. As a platform, we're helping people connect and communicate through this cycle of learning and applying skills. So people can log that they went hunting or fishing or shot their bow. They can share their trophies, which I'll show you in a second. They can find and share recipes. They can talk about the podcast that they're learning from. All of this is built into the system. And our platform is not just hunting or just fishing. We have 60 topics that we cover. So this is year-round engagement too, which is really important because we don't see this huge drop-off after hunting season. Our engagement stays consistent year-round. So if you're not familiar with Go Wild, it's not Facebook for the outdoors. Yes, you have a feed of photos, but it's actually quite a bit different. It's a forum-based platform. If you're more familiar with a Reddit, we actually operate much similar to Reddit than these other platforms, because if you want to dive into archery and only see archery content, you can do that in our platform. the trophy integration is not just a picture. We pull all of the stats in from more than 200 species. You can share the gear you're using, which again is so many of the questions we see are around the gear. We have a questions functionality, which for anybody on Facebook, I imagine a lot of you are. We have a recommendation functionality that helps people, like within our system, when someone logs a question, it gets flagged and it's deemed more important. So we do a really good job of getting questions answered. And you can share your gear setups, which if you're a veteran, it's fun. You can show off your $3,000 bow if that's what you're into, or you can share your setup and ask for advice on what you should add to that. For this audience, and this is one of my favorite features to personally use, really for you all, I think of our Near Me feature. And this is something that combines all of that tech together and it puts it to your local users around you. So if you have a question that you ask, you can, our Near Me feature can help pull people who are local to you to answer that question. So in deer season, for example, I can use this if I'm wondering what the rut's doing. I can use the Near Me and I'm in Kentucky. So I'm looking at people in Kentucky and just over the river in Indiana, and I can see what kind of activity they're seeing and I can ask them advice. So we're localizing the advice. Hunting in Kentucky is so different than anywhere else in the country. Texas might have totally different advice for me for that time of year. So this is a really cool tool that you can use within the platform to help people learn and really see what's going on at that time of year. So I mentioned the engagement earlier. I just wanted to pull a few examples of this because people don't believe me sometimes. I think when I tell them that people can get crazy engagement on their first post on Go Wild. So, this young man asked, what's a good affordable bow for beginners? We see a lot of this question. In 24 hours, this person got 33 recommendations on a bow. And really quickly without any followers. This is one of his first posts on Go Wild. He was able to drum up that kind of engagement. Someone said, I want to hunt whitetail. Does anyone have any tips? 43 answers, and this person has 1 follower. And that's truly the power of the forums. We have tens of thousands of people that are cruising the forums every single week. And when you start to span that out to the month, it multiplies considerably. So people are able to tap into the community's knowledge really quickly. My last example here, someone said, is this a good gun to get for deer hunting and coyote hunting? She got 32 answers and she only has 34 followers. When you start to think about engagement on other platforms, you don't have a curated audience. You're only reaching 5 to 10% of that audience at any given time. So by the time you figure someone's 250, 300, whatever it is followers, most people don't have 10,000 followers. Our platform ignores all of that and really helps you access a community of experts. I wanted to throw out a few ways that we work with agencies and some options that we have. So I just presented everything to you on the consumer side and the user side of the platform, but ways we can work with agencies, it's almost like a marketing play. So we have a really amazing outdoorsman tracker system is kind of what I'll call it for this presentation. But we can help states find people who are going to your state's gun shows, going to your retailers. We have an ability to find people that even aren't in our platform and help you market to them. We do a lot of co-branded marketing content that's native content. So it's educational content. And I love working with people to pull out, I've worked with Hunt Stand a lot. It's another hunting app, to pull in their native content into our platform. And some of the stuff, one of the Hunt Stand articles had 80 comments in 48 hours, and it's technically advertising. It's really engaging educational stuff. And also with agencies, we can even work on hunter reactivation. So we have a advertising model that we can actually use to reactivate. If you have hunters who haven't bought a license in the last few years, we can actually market to them in their household. So it's another opportunity for agencies to go after people who maybe have just kind of churned over the last couple of years because life gets busy. Those are all actual relationships that we would form and work with together. But the last thing I just kind of wanted to call out is, the biggest challenge for agencies when people, they get their hunter's ed, they get their license and they're off. And a lot of times there's not very much touch. I know we have a lot of R3 coordinators here who work on this, but sometimes there's not a touch point after that, right? We can help mentor continuously. So, if there's an opportunity for us to work together and to get people into the system, they can come to Go Wild and get a place where they're going to get that ongoing membership. We do a really good job of maintaining our member base. From what I know, we do a better job than any app for hunting, fishing, whatever. We have a really high retention rate, and we focus on that so that people keep coming back to the well and they can keep getting that knowledge. my information is here. I would love to talk to anybody. I'll drop our contact page in a second. And if anyone has any questions or they want to reach out, they can hit me up on this email if you want to screenshot that, or you can come through the contact form and I'll see that as well. But thank you all for your time today. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks, Brad. That was great. And I love having you right here in Kentucky at my,
That's right.
basically next door. So that's pretty fun. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate your time. And I know a lot of people are excited to follow you on social. Next up, we have Mr. Slade Johnston with Trips for Trade. And this is super cool. I learned about this during POMA, I think. So Slade, tell us what you got going on.
Yeah, hey guys, and thank you for the opportunity to chat this afternoon. Super excited about the amount of people that we have on this. This is just really neat to kind of see everybody coming together to attack this problem. But yeah, so my name's Slade Johnston. We have a company called Trips for Trade, which is based out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Essentially what that is a platform for swapping trips. So say you have a hunting property and want to go fishing, you could take somebody with you in exchange to go on that fishing trip. But it's also more than hunting and fishing. We also expand into the categories of adventure, vacation, and sports. So this kind of opens up the options for what you can list and what you can trade. And really one thing we wanted to dive into, we wanted to keep it super simple, but was kind of go into this scenario of how we can help the R3 initiative. For us, conservation is a huge goal. And the barriers to entry that we're really addressing are one, access, two, finances, and three, knowledge. And so with our platform, we have the ability to connect people on trips with people that are experienced. They're going to have the knowledge, they're going to have the access, and it's also going to be more affordable than paying, say, an outfitter or somebody that is collecting money for that trip. But right here, this image that I want to show on the screen. Yeah, 1 second. All right, so this image, very basic graphic, but the goal behind that is telling the story. And so the first picture, what we're showing is basically a guy and his son sitting on a dock and kind of talking where the son has interest in doing something outdoors. Maybe in this scenario, we're going to say that the dad was a previous hunter, maybe he was a deer hunter or a duck hunter, and was telling his son about some experiences he's had in the past, and the son has interest, but maybe the dad no longer has that lease. Money got tight, wasn't able to keep the lease up. Also don't know if the son's really going to like it, so kind of hesitant to spend the money to pay an outfitter to go on this trip. But maybe they live in the city and they have a lake house that's vacant half of the year. Through Trips for Trade, they could get on there, list their lake house, let somebody stay there for a weekend, to in exchange take his son on a duck hunting trip. And so that's kind of the recruitment side. You look at the second picture, this is more having that experience, but it's also getting the dad back outdoors. So, maybe he hasn't hunted in several years, but in this scenario, we're reactivating him at the same time. And then lastly, this is supposed to kind of show the forward process of several years down the road where the dad's turned into a granddad and they're kind of sharing that experience with the grandson and keeping them active through new trips that they can go on together. So again, very simple, but at Trips for Trade, one of our core goals is really just helping with that conservation as many ways as possible. Currently, we have trips in all 50 states. We're in 10 different countries. So really about any kind of experience that you want to go on, especially in the outdoor space, we've got something really cool that you can do there. So if you guys are interested in swapping some trips, check out tripsfortrade.com. We run off of a membership model. The goal here is to not charge any transaction fees on that, only to have a vetted community of people that are serious about trading to make sure that our quality is going up. So if you guys want to check it out, go to tripsfortrade.com, or you can reach me at slade@tripsfortrade.com. Thank you.
Thanks, Slade. That was great. And there's a lot of chatter in the chat over here. There's a bunch of people that are offering up some trips and trades. So hopefully you'll get some traffic from that. That'd be awesome.
Well, thank you, guys.
Thank you. Next up, we have Mr. Rob Southwick from Southwick Associates. You will recognize him as a speaker from previously today. So I know you're super excited to hear from him. just waiting for him to come on screen. You know, he's a big deal, so he's going to be probably a minute. He's going to make us wait. It's just like yesterday when, you know, you have to wait for greatness. And he's going to be blushing so hard when he does get on here. Or here's an alternative. Let's just go to the next speaker. Hey, Buck. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
And Jamie, welcome to the screen. Hey, guys.
Hi, how are you?
Great. So this is Buck Robinson and Jamie Christensen from Outdoor Access. We're happy to have you here, and you are ready to go whenever.
Great. Thank you so much. And always happy to be Rob Standen. Now he gets to be the last guy before happy hour instead of us, so he can trample him on the way. Although I was going to suggest if everybody wants to start drinking early, it'll only make our presentation better. So outdoor access is essentially the easiest way to describe it is that we're like Airbnb, but for outdoor recreation. So we started in 2016 in our home state of Virginia, and allow members to be able to rent land by the day, week. And this year we added the option of being able to also rent an entire season. So this is all private land that people are able to get access to in much the same way that they would if they were renting a place through Airbnb for a day, a week, whatever suits their needs. And we provide landowners with not only the control of being able to allow their property to be on and off whenever they would like it to be, rather than being locked into a traditional 52-week type of lease. And we provide a lot of other flexibility and freedom for them as well, so that when they want to use the property is available for them to be able to use. But when they want to make it available for somebody else to come out and use, they can use it through our platform. Okay, it's all online, so everything is managed through our platform, and everybody is covered by a $4 million insurance policy. That's for both members and landowners alike. Now, when we started here in Richmond, Virginia, we only had about 13 properties that averaged about 3 acres. And since then, we've grown quite considerably. It is a membership-based organization. We've grown to about 5,000 members. We're predominantly in the mid-Atlantic, so from Pennsylvania down through South Carolina. Last year, we also launched in Texas and have had a great deal of traction established in that market as well. And as we continue to expand in kind of measurable doses here, we expect to have this be a national platform over the next few years. What's most important is that it's really the engagement. So during the course of that last 3+ years, we've had over 30,000 days reserved and have seen an enormous increase in the amount of activity since COVID came into existence. As people are obviously looking for places to be able to go and have a safe outdoor experience in a private piece of property where they know they're going to be the only person out there. So everybody who goes into our platform has to pass a background check. There's no creating a profile and then being able to hide behind that. That's part of the reason that landowners are comfortable with this, is that not only are they protected by our insurance policy, but we know who's coming out to your property. Everybody's had to pass a background check, and that includes any guests that they're bringing along with them as well. From that perspective, you're all probably very comfortable with just this kind of platform. We've flattered a lot of what is already out there by being able to say, I'm looking for properties that are near me, that offer a certain number of amenities, that have certain types of attributes or certain types of game that they're looking for. And you can literally customize your search to be able to find something that suits your need, suits the cost that you're willing to spend, and that has all of the different types of game and or attributes that you're looking for. That includes one of the big questions that we had in the beginning is, what if I want to be able to go out and scout a property before I commit to it? We actually have that now built into our program where you can have self-service scouting, where you can go out and scout for the day and be able to make sure that you're able to be happy with the property and get familiar with the property before you go out and spend any hard dollars to be able to rent it, whether it's for a daily lease or for a seasonal one. As you'll see in just a moment, one of the things that's been great for us is that it started off as a program where a lot of people were using it for themselves. We've since seen that an enormous number of our reservations, majority in fact, are people that are bringing somebody else with them. And in many cases, it's a first-time hunter or somebody who would otherwise not have an opportunity to get outdoors. So that guest program has increased our traction substantially. In terms of those R3 metrics, 36%, so over a third of our members have not had a hunting license in at least a year. So in terms of reactivating people, we're bringing people that had otherwise seen no value in being able to buy a hunting license because they, quote unquote, had no place to hunt. And now all of a sudden, when they see that they have not just one, but literally hundreds of options that are very convenient and economically priced, they're coming back and buying not just a license, but again, using it as a way of getting other people out into the field as well. That's referenced in that 68% of our members bring a guest with them on their bookings. And that is something that we really are excited about because it's a great way for people to be able to share their love of the outdoors with somebody new. 92% of our landowners are making their land available for the first time. This is really important because it's not that we're now taking leases away from properties that were previously being leased by a hunt club or somebody else. We didn't take pieces of the pie away from somebody else. We increase the overall size of the pie. And that is really directly attributed to how we have made this very user-friendly for the landowner, him or herself. In fact, one of the things that was interesting is that when we got this started, a similar program had existed in the state of Virginia where they were trying to incentivize private landowners to be able to make their properties available. But the reality is they had a great number of hunters that wanted to participate in it, but very few landowners. As such, at the time, the Department of Game and Inland Fisheries was a little bit skeptical about whether or not our program was going to take off. And the reality is it has taken off, not just here in Virginia, but in every state that we've gone into, because we're finding that there's just an enormous number of private landowners who are willing to make their land available, but they just want to have all of their protection in place. And again, 89% of our properties are within an hour of a metro area. I think that's one of the key parts for the R3 is that when people say, well, I have a place to hunt, but it's 3 hours away, so I don't use it very often. By making properties available that are very convenient, that are easy to get access to, that you can get to, I like to put it that you can hunt in the morning and still make your kid's soccer game in the afternoon. This is really making hunting a lot more user-friendly, if you will, for today's society and the time that everybody has that they're looking to be able to do this. But at the same time, if it's a major time commitment, it's probably going to suffer. We've made it so that it's very easy for people to be able to enjoy their love of the outdoors, not spend a fortune, and at the same time be able to have that time back. So as I mentioned, one of the things that we did from day one was reach out to our state agencies to be able to say, how can we help? And one of the places where they really were having a great deal of trouble getting people to engage was with the urban archery program here in Virginia. They had made it available. There were a number of different municipalities and counties that were making urban archery available, but very few landowners were participating in it. Very few hunters were participating in it. And as a result, very few deer were getting killed, frankly. And now over the last 3 years, urban archery here in Virginia has actually increased exponentially because of our program. And I don't mean that exclusively, but I mean, we have been able to help something that had a lot of latent potential be actualized because we were actually helping both sides of the equation, the homeowner, the landowner who has a problem with a deer, and the hunter who's looking to be able to take advantage of that extended season and bringing them together in a place where they can be able to find one another and have the transaction be seamless. So thank you for your attention during this. Like I said, I'm glad I wasn't the last guy before happy hour, but I appreciate that we will be sticking around afterwards. So if anybody would like to discuss more about how our platform works or what it can do to be able to help in your state, please let us know.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
I'm sure you will have people reaching out to you in no time. So with that, we will see if Mr. Southwick will bless us with his appearance. Aha!
Hey.
Better late than never, right, Rob?
Work, huh? What happened the first time, but oh well.
Awesome. So you all know Rob Southwick with Southwick Associates. I won't say any more than that. So take it away, Rob.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm going to try to share a screen here in a second. I want to talk about the dashboards. There's a share screen, Mark. Can you all see my screen?
Not yet. There is a little bit of a lag.
Is there? Tell you what, let's not worry about it. I think most folks know what this is all about. So I want to take a few minutes, and I want happy hour too. It's been a good day.
Sounds good.
The license data dashboards. I think most people here are aware of them. It's been a process developed the last couple of years, initiative that came out of the WAFWA R3 committee for states to share their license data into one common source so we can get an idea of the regional and national trends in hunting and fishing participation on a much quicker basis and much more in depth than we've had by waiting for surveys to come out every 5 years. Part of that, these dashboards allow us to break out participation by new participants, first-time licensed buyers, and our retained and our reactivated customers. So the whole tool is meant to help evaluate and monitor R3 progress. So states have something to base their decisions on. I think a lot of you have seen it. We have a meeting next week with the project partners to see if we're ready to release it publicly. There's about 17 states involved in these license dashboards now. And then they'll be publicly shared. So we had a critical enough number of states involved to give a fair picture. So hopefully it'll be coming public here in the next couple of weeks. So the dashboards are really timely. It's about the only tool we have that we can look at combined license sales data across the states and across the country to know if things are up or down. And boy, don't we wish we had these dashboards in place back around April and May when things were rapidly changing with the COVID changes. And we don't, because it typically takes about 2 to 3 months to get the license data from all the states. And there's usually a couple that lag behind. So the time these dashboards come out, and we hope to release the 2019 dashboard in the next week or two, not 2020, because that data is starting to come in now. But time the data come out, we're several months, sometimes 4 months past the reporting period. That's better than what we had before, but we need something much, much more timely. And so the grant partners, and this by the partners, I mean, it's a broad group of people here on this call. ATA led the charge of putting this proposal, partnered with the American Sport Fishing Association, NSSF, RBFF, Turkey Federation, number of groups, marine manufacturers involved. Of course, the AFA was there. The regional R3 committees have been a huge help. They've been guiding this process. We're just the vendor that puts it together. But the new grant proposal was put in during the PR mod process, and it was approved by the AFWA, and we're very grateful to develop a real-time dashboard. And this is where we'll use a technology approach called API. Megan Weiskup talked about it earlier, as it's one of the ways that reports and data can be uploaded to the new clearinghouse. So the idea is states will have a direct live link to a common server, so we can receive all state license data, sometimes provided by the license vendors directly, take the burden off the states. And so we can have information maybe a day old, maybe a week old. We'll see how the pilot works out. But instead of having to wait for months, if we had this dashboard in place now, if we had it in place during 2020, we would have known back in April, back in May, how much of this increase is people maybe buying earlier in the year instead of waiting until July. Maybe they bought in March and April. How many of these people are new first-time buyers that we've not identified before? By age, by gender, type of license, a lot of other breakouts. So this is a new initiative, is using a technology that's not necessarily new, API technology to automatically transfer data, but it is really a new application within our R3 community. It's a tongue twister. So we really, really want states to be aware of this. For states that already have API capabilities within the license data, we can work with on legal agreements, which we have in place now. We definitely want to work with you. We want to hear from you so we can pilot this effort next year. And if it works, we'll finally be like any other industry in this country that has actually more real-time information on what they're doing. And that way we can respond rapidly in our R3 applications. We can respond right away to changes, to emerging trends, emerging audiences. We'll really know what's going on, and we'll be able to better measure the effects of special events and our marketing efforts and so forth. So just a heads up, that's it. I won't say anything more, but you're going to hear more about real-time dashboards. Thanks to the AFO for the grant. We want states to participate. We're going to be coming to you with requests. We've learned, got to ask if you want someone to do something for you, and applies to here too. So Kristen, that's it. Thank you very much for the few minutes, and I'm looking forward to happy hour 2. Let's go.
Awesome. Thanks, Rob. Appreciate it. And okay. All right. Thanks everybody who stayed to the end. Obviously it's not the end. We still have our happy hour, and we hope that you will transfer over to Zoom and join us there. But I did want to announce our last winner of the Federal Ammunition Backpack, and that is going to be Marilyn Bentz. So Marilyn, congratulations. Please email Sawyer, get in touch with him to claim your prize. And now Samantha is going to say some final words before our happy hour, and I'm going to grab a drink because leave us to the tech session to, you know, just muddy all of our tech stuff. We were doing great. And then, you know, tech session we thought would be super because tech. And of course, that is the one where we've had the most trouble. So thanks for bearing with us. We hope it was smoother for you than it was for us. And with that, Samantha.
Thanks, Kristen. So one of our secrets is that you won't ever know how smooth it was for us. We thank you all for joining us here today. You'll be receiving your drink ticket in an email version. To join the happy hour, you'll see Join the Happy Hour right below my name. We are so thankful to have everyone join us today. We have tried to set a forum experience that will not rival the National R3 Symposium. It will not rival being together in a space, but we are here gathered. We've released new research. We talked about Britannia community. We talked about new tech partners. And yesterday we talked about a bunch of other topics too. This today was what we tried to give you, and we hope you enjoyed it. If you see in your email, we asked you to complete a survey. We are looking for feedback. We intend to be in person in May 2021 in Tulsa, Oklahoma. But we can always get feedback on how to improve your experience on our online platforms. The IWG gave you a snapshot of the clearinghouse coming to you, so give us some feedback. Let us know how we did, and we'll use this information to help build a better experience for you, the R3 professionals, in the coming days, months, and years. So until we can get together in person, join us for the happy hour. We thank you for your time, and let's cheers it together. Thanks, guys.